Imagine walking into a room and feeling a presence that's magnetic, someone whose confidence, independence, and inner strength draw people in effortlessly. More often than not, that presence belongs to a woman who lives life on her own terms, alone, yet fully alive. Today, I want to talk about why women who live alone are some of the most magnetic, inspiring, and unstoppable people you will ever meet, and why their independence is not a weakness but a superpower that lights up the world around them. Independence is often misunderstood in society. Many view it merely as being physically alone or financially self-sufficient, but independence runs far deeper than those surface-level markers. True independence is the cultivation of a mindset, a way of living, and a relationship with oneself that allows a person to thrive, regardless of external circumstances. When a woman chooses to live alone, she is not merely existing without others. She is embracing the power of autonomy, taking full responsibility for her life, her decisions, and her happiness. This autonomy, in turn, becomes the foundation of confidence. Confidence is not something that can be purchased, borrowed, or granted by others. It is an internal force that grows from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you are capable of achieving. Living alone accelerates this process because it removes the distractions and dependencies that often dilute our understanding of self. Without someone else's opinions, expectations, or routines shaping her every decision, a woman living alone is forced to confront her true desires, fears, strengths, and weaknesses. This confrontation, although sometimes uncomfortable, is the very soil in which confidence is nurtured. When you live alone, every choice you make, from the smallest day-to-day decisions to life-altering ones, is yours and yours alone. This level of responsibility cultivates decisiveness and a trust in your own judgment. When no one else is there to defer to, argue with, or provide immediate validation, you learn to rely on your intuition and reasoning. Over time, this reliance strengthens your inner voice. You no longer seek approval at every step because you have learned that your worth, competence, and value do not need external validation. Confidence blossoms naturally from this self-reliance, because it is rooted not in ego or arrogance but in authenticity. It is quiet, steady, and undeniable, and it is magnetic. People are drawn to those who have a calm assurance about themselves, those who do not wobble at every challenge or require constant reassurance. Women who live alone often exude this type of confidence because it has been honed in solitude, tested in the quiet spaces where no one is watching, and refined in the crucible of self-reflection. Self-discovery is intrinsically linked to independence because when you are alone, you have the time, space, and mental freedom to explore the layers of your own personality. You are no longer performing a role for others or shaping yourself to fit into the expectations of a partner, roommate, or family member. Instead, you can peel back the layers of social conditioning and external influence and begin to understand who you are beneath all of it. This process of self-discovery is transformative. It allows a woman to uncover her passions, recognize her patterns, identify her strengths, and confront her insecurities head-on. Living alone removes the distractions that often keep people from introspection, the constant need to accommodate, compromise, or adapt to others' rhythms. It creates a fertile environment for reflection, for trying new things, and for taking risks that might feel unsafe or inconvenient in shared living situations. In solitude, a woman can pursue hobbies purely for joy, explore interests purely for curiosity, and develop skills purely for growth, all of which deepen her sense of self. Independence also teaches resilience. Living alone comes with its own challenges. Managing finances, maintaining a household, navigating social expectations, and sometimes facing loneliness. However, each of these challenges becomes an opportunity for growth. When you are alone, you learn to problem solve in ways that require creativity, patience, and persistence. You discover that you are capable of handling crises, of adapting to change, and of making decisions under pressure. This resilience further fuels confidence, because confidence is not simply about feeling good about oneself. It is about trusting in your ability to face adversity and emerge stronger. Women who live alone develop a kind of quiet power that comes from surviving and thriving on their own terms. They carry a sense of mastery over their lives that is palpable to those around them, and this mastery is attractive in ways that superficial traits like beauty or charm cannot replicate. Another dimension of independence is emotional intelligence. When a woman spends time alone, she becomes intimately familiar with her own emotions. She learns to sit with discomfort, process feelings without immediate external validation, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Emotional intelligence is a cornerstone of confidence because it allows a person to navigate relationships, challenges, and opportunities with composure and clarity. Women who live alone often exhibit high emotional intelligence because they have had to rely on themselves for emotional regulation. This doesn't mean they never seek support, but it means they have developed an internal system for understanding and managing their feelings. They know what triggers them, what lifts them, and what boundaries they need to maintain their well-being. This self-awareness is magnetic because it communicates to the world that they are grounded, centered, and capable of handling complexity with grace. Independence also fosters a sense of curiosity and exploration. When you are not constantly anchored by the needs or expectations of others, you are free to explore new ideas, travel to new places, and step outside your comfort zone. This freedom encourages growth because it allows you to experience life in its raw, unfiltered form. Women who live alone often cultivate diverse skills, interests, and perspectives precisely because they have the autonomy to pursue them. This intellectual and experiential richness adds layers to their personality, making them engaging, inspiring, and magnetic to others. Confidence in these women is multidimensional. It is not simply about self-assurance in one area of life, but a holistic confidence that emerges from being fully alive and engaged in the world. Financial independence is another critical aspect of living alone that contributes to confidence. Managing one's finances independently requires discipline, foresight, and responsibility. It is not merely about earning money. It is about planning, budgeting, and making choices that align with one's values and goals. Women who live alone often develop a strong sense of financial literacy because necessity requires it, and this literacy translates into a broader confidence about life. They know that they can support themselves, pursue their dreams, and create stability without relying on anyone else. This type of independence is liberating and empowering because it removes the constraints of dependency and replaces them with choice. Every financial decision becomes a reflection of one's priorities, values, and vision, and executing those decisions successfully reinforces a sense of competence and capability that is foundational to confidence. Living alone also cultivates a unique kind of creativity. When a person is the sole architect of their environment, routines, and lifestyle, they are compelled to think creatively to make life fulfilling and meaningful. Women who live alone often become adept at creating spaces, experiences, and moments that reflect their personality and aspirations. This creative autonomy is a form of self-expression that strengthens confidence because it communicates a deep understanding of one's identity and desires. The ability to craft one's own life, rather than fitting into someone else's blueprint, reinforces the understanding that you are capable of shaping your destiny. This empowerment is inherently magnetic because it inspires others to consider their own potential for autonomy and growth. Moreover, independence enhances social confidence. Living alone does not mean living in isolation. In fact, many women who live alone develop richer, more intentional social connections. Because their sense of self is not dependent on others, they approach relationships from a place of choice rather than neediness. They attract people into their lives not out of desperation or obligation, but because they are interesting, engaged, and self-assured individuals. This type of confidence is subtle but undeniable. It shows in the way they speak, listen, and carry themselves. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who radiate assurance without arrogance, and who engage with the world from a position of authenticity. Independence is the soil from which this confidence grows, and self-discovery is the water that nourishes it. Together, they create a woman who is not only magnetic but also inspiring, someone who embodies the possibility of living fully and authentically. Independence also allows for deeper alignment with personal values and goals. When a woman lives alone, she is the ultimate decision maker in her life. She can prioritize what matters most to her without compromise or dilution. This alignment creates a sense of integrity and inner harmony that further enhances confidence. When actions, choices, and values are in sync, there is a clarity and strength that is unmistakable. Living in alignment with oneself requires courage, because it often means resisting societal pressures, familial expectations, or conventional norms. But it also reinforces the understanding that confidence is not about pleasing others, it is about honoring oneself, making intentional choices, and standing firm in one's truth. Lastly, the journey of independence and self-discovery is ongoing. Living alone provides continuous opportunities to test limits, challenge assumptions, and grow into an ever-evolving version of oneself. Confidence built on this foundation is resilient because it is adaptive. It is not brittle or conditional, but rooted in lived experience, reflection, and mastery. Women who embrace this journey often exude a quiet magnetism because they have faced solitude, uncertainty, and challenge, and emerged with a profound understanding of themselves. They are confident because they know that their value, power, and potential are inherent, not contingent on anyone else. Independence fuels this. Confidence and self-discovery ensures that it is deep, authentic, and enduring. Living alone is often framed in society as a lonely experience, a phase to endure, or a circumstance to remedy. However, the reality is far more profound. Living alone is one of the most transformative experiences a person can undertake because it cultivates resilience and authenticity in ways that shared living rarely allows. Resilience is the capacity to navigate challenges, to adapt to change, and to recover from setbacks with grace and strength. It is not something that is handed to us. It is developed through repeated experiences of navigating life on our own terms. Women who live alone are constantly exercising this muscle of resilience because they are fully responsible for their well-being, their choices, and their environment. Every day presents opportunities to confront uncertainty, make decisions without immediate support, and face consequences directly. In doing so, a woman learns that she is capable of handling complexity and adversity, and this knowledge becomes a cornerstone of her strength. Living alone demands accountability, and accountability breeds resilience. When you are the only person responsible for managing your home, your finances, and your emotional well-being, there is no one to shift blame to, no partner to rescue you from mistakes, and no external buffer against challenges. This can initially feel daunting, even overwhelming, but over time it strengthens character. Each challenge faced alone is an opportunity to practice problem-solving, patience, and determination. Whether it is fixing a leaking faucet, navigating a difficult financial decision, or handling a personal crisis, the process of confronting and resolving issues independently creates a sense of competence and fortitude. Women who live alone develop a quiet but undeniable confidence in their ability to persevere because they have repeatedly faced obstacles and emerged capable. The knowledge that you can rely on yourself builds a deep, internal reservoir of resilience that becomes apparent in all areas of life, from career challenges to personal relationships. Beyond practical problem solving, living alone fosters emotional resilience. Solitude allows a woman to engage deeply with her own thoughts and feelings, to understand her emotional triggers, and to learn how to manage them without immediate external validation. In shared living situations, emotions are often moderated by the presence of others. A partner, roommate, or family member may cushion difficult feelings or provide constant reassurance. When alone, there is no such cushion, and this requires the development of emotional strength. Women learn to sit with discomfort, process challenges internally, and emerge with a better understanding of themselves. This emotional resilience is incredibly empowering because it equips women to handle relationships, career pressures, and life transitions with poise. People are drawn to those who exhibit calm confidence in the face of challenges, and this type of resilience has a magnetic quality, precisely because it is rooted in genuine experience rather than performance. Living alone also cultivates adaptability, a critical component of resilience. In shared living arrangements, routines and decisions are often influenced by others, limiting opportunities to fully test one's adaptability. When living alone, however, a woman must respond to unexpected situations, adjust to changes, and create solutions independently. From small adjustments, like reorganizing a schedule after an unforeseen event, to major decisions, like relocating for career opportunities, the need to adapt is constant. These experiences sharpen problem-solving abilities, teach patience, and encourage creative thinking. Over time, this adaptability becomes second nature, enhancing both confidence and resilience. Women who live alone are often remarkably flexible and capable of navigating uncertainty with calm and strategic thinking, which in turn makes them magnetic to others. People sense the ease with which these women move through life and are naturally drawn to that sense of strength and self-possession. Authenticity is another extraordinary outcome of living alone. When a woman is the sole architect of her life, she has the freedom to make choices that reflect her true values, desires, and personality. In the absence of constant compromise or the pressure to conform to the expectations of others, authenticity flourishes. Living alone allows a woman to explore who she really is, her interests, passions, and quirks, without fear of judgment or the need to perform for approval. This authenticity becomes magnetic because it signals a deep alignment between inner values and outward behavior. People are instinctively drawn to those who are genuine, who radiate confidence in their own skin, and who are unafraid to live life according to their own terms. Authenticity, paired with resilience, creates a magnetic presence because it is rooted in lived experience, in the consistent demonstration of strength, and in the courage to stand alone without compromising one's identity. Solitude also fosters self-reflection, which is essential for cultivating authenticity. When alone, a woman has the time and mental space to examine her motivations, desires, and goals. She can question societal expectations, challenge limiting beliefs, and explore possibilities without interference. This introspection allows her to make conscious choices that are aligned with her authentic self, rather than automatic responses to external pressures. The process of living alone teaches her that authenticity is not just about expressing opinions or preferences. It is about making deliberate, value-driven choices that honor who she truly is. This depth of self-knowledge enhances resilience because decisions made from a place of authenticity are inherently stronger and more sustainable. Women who live alone demonstrate a rare combination of grounded confidence and self-possession, which draws others in and inspires admiration. Another way living alone cultivates magnetic authenticity is by encouraging boundaries. When a woman lives independently, she learns to define her limits, assert her needs, and protect her well-being. She discovers that saying no to what does not serve her is an act of strength, not selfishness. These boundaries are critical for resilience because they prevent burnout and emotional depletion, allowing a woman to maintain her energy and focus for the pursuits that matter most. Authentic boundaries also communicate self-respect to the world, which enhances magnetism. People are drawn to individuals who know themselves well enough to honor their limits, who carry themselves with dignity, and who engage in relationships and opportunities with intention rather than obligation. Living alone provides the consistent practice required to cultivate these skills, reinforcing both resilience and authenticity over time. The process of building a home, both literally and figuratively, contributes significantly to resilience. Managing a household alone requires planning, organization, and resourcefulness. From cooking meals to maintaining living spaces, paying bills, and creating routines, these tasks demand a combination of practical intelligence and emotional stamina. Each success, no matter how small, reinforces the belief in one's capabilities. Women who live alone develop a sense of mastery over their environment that is deeply empowering. This mastery is magnetic because it reflects a woman who is capable, self-reliant, and fully in control of her life. Observers cannot help but notice the strength and stability of someone who has created a fulfilling, self-sufficient life on her own, and this attracts both admiration and respect. Living alone also allows for a unique sense of freedom, which fuels both resilience and authenticity. Freedom from constant external influence, from the need to compromise at every turn, and from the pressure to conform, allows a woman to explore life fully. She can pursue interests passionately, experiment with new ideas, and take risks without the weight of expectation. This freedom cultivates creativity, confidence, and courage, all of which enhance resilience. Authenticity emerges naturally in this space because choices are made from personal desire rather than obligation. The combination of freedom, self-direction, and the necessity of self-reliance creates a compelling presence that is both inspiring and magnetic. Women who live alone embody the idea that one does not need to fit into predefined roles to thrive. They redefine what it means to be independent, capable, and genuine. Relationships, too, are strengthened through living alone. Because a woman who lives alone is self-sufficient and emotionally resilient, she engages in connections from a place of company, choice, rather than dependency. Authenticity in relationships stems from the ability to give fully without losing oneself, to set boundaries while remaining open, and to navigate conflict with grace. Resilience in relationships comes from experience with self-reliance and problem-solving, allowing a woman to maintain composure and clarity under pressure. People naturally gravitate toward those who embody these qualities because they create a sense of balance, trust, and reliability that is rare and deeply attractive. Living alone teaches that resilience is not just about enduring difficulties alone, but also about cultivating a life that draws in others through integrity, strength, and authenticity. Additionally, living alone cultivates a sense of purpose. When a woman is the primary architect of her life, she is compelled to define her own goals, aspirations, and meaning. Purpose is a powerful driver of resilience because it provides a reason to persist when challenges arise. Authenticity strengthens purpose because actions are aligned with core values and desires, ensuring that every step forward feels meaningful. The synergy of resilience and authenticity generates a magnetic energy that others notice immediately. Women who live alone are often inspiring because they demonstrate the ability to create a fulfilling, autonomous life while remaining true to themselves. Their presence radiates a combination of strength, clarity, and self-possession that is irresistible and impactful. Living alone also encourages continual growth and learning. Challenges, mistakes, and successes become lessons that refine resilience, while reflection and introspection deepen authenticity. Every obstacle navigated independently reinforces the understanding that she is capable of handling complexity and uncertainty. Every choice made from a place of authenticity strengthens the alignment between inner values and outward actions. This continuous cycle of growth ensures that resilience is not static but dynamic, and authenticity is not performative but genuine. Women who embrace the journey of living alone demonstrate a rare depth of character, a quiet power, and an undeniable magnetism that comes from having faced life fully on their own terms.